Hello, everybody. Welcome. I'm just double checking that we are recording. We are. I want to lose the rerun. So welcome to the rerun of our Toastmasters marketing tactics. Just going to take you through the slides, and these are slides for notes, so you can use them as notes for revision and to understand what's going on if you're scrolling through the video really quickly. So we all join Toastmasters to make mistakes, and we all join Toastmasters to learn. And I've not used this webinar platform for doing meetings, presentation meetings, for about a year. So I'm hoping that I've got all the buttons correct. We have changed to a new webinar platform now, that is Zoom, but I haven't used it for webinars for a while, so I'm hoping that I'll be okay. Everything goes wrong, like it did with the first version, which we did on Webinar Jam. I'm now doing this again to give us a recording. So that's the Sergeant at Arms review done. If there's a fire, then that's your prerogative, and you'll have to deal with it because I'm not in your building. What we're going to go through today is we're going to look at the challenges of Toastmasters promotion, who can help you, and how they can help you. Going to give you some ideas for what you could create, and we'll talk about some examples. I'll take questions, but as this is a rerun, I doubt there's going to be many people turning up for the video for the rerun. But really, this is just a recording for the sake of having a note for people to reference in the future. And I would invite you to share what works with you both here and on the Facebook page, which is set up for the webinar seminars. And if I can remember anecdotes of what other people have told me, I'll throw that in as well. So this slideshow is Boring Death by PowerPoint. It's a reference to give you an idea of what's in the content. And this replay will be in the Facebook group and maybe in other places in the future as well for your review. But just one warning before we really get into the meat of it, and that is whatever we talk about today, you don't need to implement tomorrow. You don't need to implement straight away. I know you're volunteers, your time is limited. Better to do a little bit often than try and do a heck of a lot and then fall over and succeed doing nothing. So marketing for Toastmasters has some pretty unique challenges, pretty unique to Toastmasters. First one is it's not our job. We're volunteers. We're part of Toastmasters to learn, and we're not paid to be marketers. We're asked to be marketers. We're volunteers or we're voluntold, but it's not our job. And if we don't get paid for it, then we've got to do something else which we get paid for, which means we've got to be careful how much time we put into this. And unlike a normal business, there's no commission for selling Toastmasters. Well, there are bribes, there are pizza offers, there are other competition offers which district may have available to us, which may mean that we can gain something for our club. But there's no actual monetary cash in your hand value directly for it, apart from the fact that, of course, without members, you can't pay for your venue and you cease to have a club. So not only do we not earn money, we don't really have a marketing budget. We can't throw £100 a week to gaining new members and get a return on investment. We have no real budget. And if we do have a budget, it's very, very limited. But on the other hand, we do have strengths as Toastmasters, which puts us way ahead of the curve with the competition out there trying to get people's attention. We have existing members. So we've got an army of people who already like and love our product, Toastmasters. Unfortunately for us, they're all pretty damn good at speaking and being communicators. And if they're not, we are training them to be great speakers and communicators. that puts us way ahead of everybody else. Because we all join Toastmasters to improve ourselves. And that's not just fear of public speaking, not just creating speeches, it's leadership, it's learning things like doing the PR, learning things like being a Toastmaster president, being the Sergeant at Arms, all those other jobs which are needed to make a successful group. So that wonderful cohort of club members is a way that we can share our PR problems and our PR stories, our members. They are the best ambassadors for the business. They are our happy customers, and they are some of the most articulate happy customers as well. They're happy, they're articulate, and they are keen to help us. Why? Well, because a group without gaining new members is a group that's going to die. We all know that we have a slow loss of members over time. It's normal. We need to replace them. And a thriving group of people with new members coming in not only gives us a chance to grow as a group, but also to learn from new people with new ideas. I'm giving this seminar, and I haven't even been a Toastmaster for a year yet. New members therefore bring in new skills, new ideas, new experiences. The different jobs and backgrounds of your Toastmasters club is quite surprising. Sharing your Toastmasters message in your own personal social media and working space will really, it says can, but I'm pretty sure it will improve your personal reputation. Since I started talking about my life as a Toastmaster, I have seen a significant increase in interest in me and what I do and what I sell. And I can put a figure of 15, 20% on that since I start talking about Toastmasters. And yes, probably my skills at giving the impression, giving messages to people, talking to people is probably improving as well because of Toastmasters. But certainly there is a 15 to 20, 25%, depending what you're measuring, improvement in my results that I'm getting just by promoting the fact that I'm in Toastmasters. And that's response to people because I say something about Toastmasters and they respond to me. Sharing that information has an effect on others because they suddenly think, hey, this person is a good communicator. Therefore, it's going to be easier for me to listen to them. Maybe I should listen to them. Maybe I should find out why they're a good communicator. So being vulnerable and yet working to improve is the character of now. That is what we do nowadays. We are very un-British. We are vulnerable. We tell people the problems we have. We get empathy. We get support. And therefore, sharing the fact that you're on a journey as a Toastmaster, you know you're not an expert yet, but you have a pretty good idea of what is required. That will be a benefit to you. In fact, I find nowadays that being less than perfect is better than being perfect. By sharing your marketing message that you are going to create as a VPPR or whatever job you have or role you have within your Toastmasters club, sharing that marketing message to your Toastmasters will help them promote for you. But they're also therefore promoting themselves. And they will get that kickback benefit of the status of being a Toastmaster as well. So don't just do the PR. There's a lot to be done. Don't do it all yourself. Create PR content and then get other people to help you to share it. And you will increase the information exponentially. But wait, who am I to tell you what's going on? Well, I don't like to do too much of a background, so I'll just say that I've been a software developer for over 35 years. So I'm getting quite good at it. In comparison to that, I've only been marketing online for 20 years, so not that long. I mostly give business services supporting local small businesses, and that's quite good because as far as I'm concerned, Toastmasters is like lots of little small businesses. But I only joined in September 2018, which from the time I'm recording this is less than a year. And I, like many Toastmasters, didn't really get that involved for the first few months. It wasn't until January of 2019 that I took the position of Sergeant at Arms. And then at the end of the Toastmasters year in July, I became the VP of PR. And so therefore, I've only just started. And I haven't really got to get together everything that I want to do yet. But as far as the roles during the meetings, I've done every single role apart from being a stand-in president. So I've been Sergeant at Arms, I've done speeches, I've done evaluations, I've even been a general evaluator. I've done warm-ups, I've done I've run the impromptu speaking sections as well. And I've evaluated it. And the only thing I haven't done so far is stand up and be a president. And I've also visited multiple clubs. I think 4 or 5 different clubs now I visited. Now, again, that's not a great deal. I agree. But at least I've touched every major thing that there is to do. I've been on some Toastmasters training as well. So I've been around the Toastmasters environment. I've got a feeling for things, but I've only just started. I'm helping other local groups around me as well. And I'm offering the same small business marketing techniques to Toastmasters. And it seems to do rather well because they have the same challenges. And therefore, these marketing strategies which I'm using Toastmasters would probably work in a small business as well. So if you're taking on the VPPR as an experience to make your PR in your own business work, then you're doing the right thing. So you may be a VPPR because you've got knowledge to share, and that's great. I've already talk to people who are VPPRs and they may have experience as a web person in some shape or form. They may be a marketing person in some shape or form. Or they could be doing it to learn and develop marketing skills and have thought that it would be a great way to start working in Toastmasters. And that is fine because like everything in Toastmasters, we all have different backgrounds and we all have interesting things that we can contribute to Toastmasters. So this is the first of a series of webinars that I'm going to be running. And we are first starting with a top-down view of where I think we can move the Toastmaster story. And I'm going to throw in some ideas to give you easy wins to get you started. We'll go into more detail in future presentations. We will focus in on various things, but the first presentation, the first rule of any marketing is to find some nice, easy wins, especially if we want to encourage other Toastmasters to help us. We need to find things that are nice and easy that they can do with little effort as well, and that will encourage them then to help us. We're posting lots more content on a website. The website we haven't done for now. At the moment, we just have the District 91 Facebook group for these webinars, and we'll be putting the content in there for starters, so make sure that you've joined. So, popular platforms for a Toastmasters club. These are the sort of things I have seen and I would expect to be used by Toastmasters club. You've probably got a website. Most likely it's going to be a WordPress website, but it may not be. But most Toastmasters groups have a website. They often also have an email list. Now, that could be on an email list program, and that email list is probably members plus guests. Some groups have a YouTube channel, especially if they are recording the speeches and putting them on the YouTube channel for members to review. And in which case it's usually a YouTube channel with, it seems, nothing on it, because they're all unlisted videos for other people to enjoy in the privacy of their own home when they've done a speech, and not a load of public videos for everybody else to see. Most groups have done a Google Maps entry so that you can be found on Google Maps. And if you haven't, don't worry, we're going to cover that. Most groups will have a Facebook page.
Results from the web.
And that's, as you can see, you mustn't say Google when you're Google's around. My Google is now responding to us. Terrible. Sorry about that interruption. Instagram has been used by some people. I'm not using it yet. I know I should, and I will do, but Instagram is a good place for sharing social media. WhatsApp is being used by people in the management of their groups. So the club may have a WhatsApp group for the committee and those that are working to run the meetings. There are quite a few people that have an account on Meetup, so they can promote their meeting through Meetup. And Eventbrite as well. In fact, our first meeting on Eventbrite is going to be the next meeting, which is actually this Monday coming from when I'm recording this. So we'll see how that works. So let's look at the first one of those, website. We're going to devote a whole webinar to this later on, but I'd just like to go through some of the basics. And the basics for me are the main pages on your website. First of all, you must have a welcome page. That's the first page that people see if they type in your website name. And that needs to tell a bit about Toastmasters. That's your pitch for those people that come and see Toastmasters. The next page that's important to you is the About Us page. This is when you have a chance to say where you can be found, what your meetings are, where they are, a little bit maybe about what happens at meetings, so people can understand what your Toastmasters experience is all about. An About Us page is one of the most regularly visited pages on a website. You need a Contact Us page. You need people to know how they're going to contact you. Quite often we use a form because you don't know what time they're going to be reading the website. You might well also have a link to an email address that somebody can respond to in a prompt manner. It doesn't have to be in seconds, but you certainly don't want it left days. And lastly, you need some sort of news page. You need some information about what's happening. And I would suggest that you put on there your president's report or your meeting report, whatever you have. And I do know from feedback that some of you don't have a meeting report. Can I encourage you to find somebody, either the secretary or the president or whoever, but somebody writes a little report about the meeting. What happened, who won ribbons, what they did for, maybe a little bit about the speeches. The reason for this is when people read it, they can get a flavour of what's going on in the club. If you don't have any news, then how does anybody know that anything's happening at your club? And that's why meetings, reports are really useful. And you may have a reference to that on your welcome page as well, so people can see the latest meeting. So are you using WordPress? I hope you are, because it certainly makes things easier for me if you're using WordPress, because I can give you WordPress related things to make your life easier. If you're not using WordPress, then, well, let's see what you're using and then see how we can help you. But whatever you're using, I do have one question for you. Do you have stats? Do you have visitor statistics? Do you know how many people visit your website? Now, okay, I'm not expecting you to come back and say, we've had 15,000 people visiting our website. I'm not expecting that at all. But when you have a meeting and then you persuade your president or whoever else it is going to write a meeting report, and then you can see that meeting report has been read by 10 people, you now know that the members are taking some interest in your meeting. When you do some promotion and you see there are visitors to your website, you can start to see how people are getting to you. If you've only got a handful of people visiting your website, then when new visitors visit it, it's actually easier to see that they've been there. You want to know that it's being used. And when you do any sort of promotion or any sort of information, you want to know that people have read it, in the same way as you get statistics off Facebook when people have read your posts and liked your posts. Let's talk about email lists. Do you have an email list? Well, please don't tell me you do a 2 and then you put everybody's name in. Please don't do that. You're giving away the email address of everybody else. And that's not good if you're giving away the email address of people who are in your meeting, in your club. But it's really even worse if you're doing that and you've got guest list there as well. That will get you into trouble. I'm not saying GDPR, you're going to get a big fine. What I'm saying is it will make people not feel happy about the information that they've shared with you. If you do have to send emails out and you want to CC people, then please use BCC, blind carbon copy, because when you put all the email addresses in BCC, they are not seen by the other people receiving the email. However, who do you email? I suggest you need more than one list. You should have an email which you send out to your members, to your current members. And that should be the one which talks about having a meeting, maybe a call out for people to do the various roles. If there's some roles available, it may be references to EasySpeak. It may be EasySpeak sends out these emails for you. So they're the regular emails going out to members, reminding them of the meeting and all the paraphernalia about organizing the meeting around it. But there's other people as well. What about guests? Do you email guests after they've been to your one meeting, inviting them back? Do you? I'm not sure we did properly. We collect email addresses and we have a form where we collect the details, and it's a GDPR form. So people say that it's okay that we can email them. And if you need to copy the format of it, you'll find that within the Facebook page. But do you then follow up those guests? And if you do, whose responsibility is it? Is it the PR person or is it the membership person? Or has it fallen down the crack of the two of them? And even if the membership person is following up, should you not do a regular email out, I don't know, a week, 4 or 5 days to a week out from the next meeting, reminding people of the meeting, just as a courtesy? And what about regular visitors from other clubs? I go pretty regularly to some other clubs local to me. And I've noticed that some of them send me emails, copy me in, and some of them don't. And if those do, and if you heard a noise in the background, I'm sorry, that's our carers who've just leaving. Some will do and some don't. And if they are, then that encourages me to turn up, doesn't it? And it also encourages me to ask if they have a role that I could possibly take part in. because I do like when people from other clubs come to our group and they take on a role, because all clubs have different experiences, and it's nice to see somebody else's version of the role that you have in your club. So let's talk about GDPR. If you have a member and you're sending emails out to that member, then you really have no risk or problem about GDPR. You have no problem about privacy. And this is why. That person has joined your club as a member and paid their fee. As part of that fee, they come to your meetings and they use the Toastmasters website and pathways and all the things connected to it. That is part of the service delivered to them as a member. And therefore, sending them an email asking them if they want to do a role is part of that service. And therefore, you should expect that email. There's no reason why that email should not be supplied. If you are inviting them to the meeting and making them sure they know that this is the agenda and this is the meeting we're having, that is part of the service for them as a member. If you're asking if they can do a role, if you're asking them if they want to do a speech, that is all part of the membership. So basically what I'm saying is almost every single reason you have for emailing a member is part of the service. And therefore, under GDPR, it's not spam, it's what you are delivering them, what they paid for. You got no problem with it. It's where you come to the guests that you have to be a bit more careful. You should make sure that you create some sort of form that they can sign when they come to the meeting, or if they subscribe to your website in some way. So there's some box to say that I allow my email address to be used for marketing purposes. And if they ask to be taken off that list for any reason, then you make sure that they are taken off promptly and they don't get more emails next meeting. You follow that, you're obeying GDPR perfectly, and nobody's going to have a trouble with that whatsoever. So the email software most people are using are these online services, and there are quite a few out there which offer free. Now, I'm not going to mention exactly which ones on this video for the simple reason that they do change the rules now and again, and I want to make sure I don't tell you something which is wrong in the future. So let's just say that there are programs out there. We will have information on the Facebook page of the programs out there at the moment which offer free. Just think about it. We're not sending out emails to hundreds and hundreds of people, so it's not that big a deal, and you can get free mailing. Aweber used to be free, for instance. It's now $19 a month. Up to 500 subscribers, which is more than we'll ever need. And MailChimp is free up to 2,000 subscribers, although you can only send out 10,000 monthly emails, which again shouldn't be a problem, but they will change. So I'm not sitting here recommending any, except the fact that I have a WordPress plugin, which I'm now working on a version for Toastmasters, which will allow you to send those out through your website, and therefore you won't need any separate software. So watch this space. What about YouTube? Do you have a videographer? Now, we did a survey the first time I did this webinar, and it was about half and half. Half did, half didn't. Doing a video of all the main speeches that the person that created the speech and the evaluator of the speech can watch later and see how well they did is really powerful. And I promise you, from personal experience and the feedback of other people in the club and from other clubs, it is really a really powerful service to offer to Toastmasters. Now, we upload those into our YouTube channel. They go on unlisted links, which means you can't find them by going onto the site. If you go to the Epsom Toastmasters video, YouTube video channel, they're not there. I think there's only one video you can see, and that's me talking about how to use pathways for signing off your speeches. All the others are hidden. But an unlisted link means that they can watch the video as many times as they like, and usually people only watch it for one session. But if you want to share that with your mentor, you want to share it with your family, that is up to you as the user. We just gave it to you. We've only got one video. It's not really for public consumption. It's a procedural thing about how to use the Toastmasters system. So I have a new president, and I'm going to get him to record a video welcoming everybody to our Toastmasters club. And then I'm going to get it on YouTube, and I'm going to put it on the website as well. And I might even persuade some other people to tell me about their roles and put that on there as well. Maybe you do an education slot, which would be about public speaking, and you can persuade the person who has the education slot that it can be public. Just ask. Some people are happy about doing this. Maybe you've got somebody who did well at one of the competitions and would be happy to share their speech. Although probably not until they've won the speech, and they don't want their competition to watch it too often. But if you can, put some stuff up there. If you are recording videos, though, can I please ask you to be predictable about when they're available? I do a lot of videos, I do a lot of recording. Okay, it's pretty second nature to me to take the videos that the videographer has done and upload them. And I mostly have those videos uploaded the following day. You don't have to be that quick, but please do it within 2 or 3 days and be predictable about it, because they lose their value the longer people wait for them. And if you don't have somebody who's going to do it full time, then you could do what Epson used to do before I took it on, and that was they used to pass that particular task around. So there was a group of people who each took it in turn to upload the videos, and therefore it didn't impact on anybody to any great degree. Google Maps. Google Maps are really powerful because people can then do a search for Toastmasters and your town, and most of the time your Toastmasters group is going to appear on Google search, which means they know who you are, they know where you are, and if they want to find you and use Google Maps to find you as well, they can do that. Anybody can add an entry onto Google Maps. It's pretty open about that. So please don't go around spamming lots of places. But anyone can add an entry, and if it's a valid entry and it gets signed off by Google, it's a very powerful way of promoting your club. What about Facebook? Well, we all use Facebook, and you must have a Facebook page. Of course, we know the way Facebook works now, that Facebook pages aren't that good at promoting a Facebook advert. Is the only way to get people to see a Facebook page. And we're not going to do adverts. Very unlikely to do adverts. Let's say not for as a rule. There might be special circumstances where we want to, but really we're not. So people seeing your Facebook page is pretty remote unless they like the page. Well, come on now. Your club members can like the page. And if your club members know that you're going to upload some pictures of the meeting on that page, and the chances are that if they win something or there's a picture of each person's coming up to do their work, whether it be a standard role or whether it be a speech or an evaluation, and there is a photo of them doing that, there's a good chance that they're going to like it. There's a pretty good chance that if it's a good photo, they're going to share it. If they do that on a regular basis, then that page will have an effect on their Facebook wall. They will see it. They will look out for it. They may even hunt for it. And when they like something and they share something, their friends get to see the like and see the share. And their friends then get to see Toastmasters. And what have we done? We've just advertised Toastmasters for free through our existing club members. So that's why you encourage them to like and share those pictures. And by the way, you can stick the same pictures up on your Facebook pages, on your WordPress or other website pages. Same photos. Because some people would prefer to share them from there. Now, we don't have, but you may have a community forum, like a private Facebook group for your members to discuss things. But if it's a private Facebook group, don't just upload the photos to there, because then you're just liking and sharing them privately. Use a private Facebook group for discussing things about speeches and giving in-house advice, maybe. We, again, at Epsom, aren't using that at the moment, although I can see some good reasons for doing so. People can have questions, and it's a private Facebook group, so you've got a control of who gets to see it. That is if you set it up as a private Facebook group, and I suggest you do. But all the stuff that you want people to share and to like and to go public, you put on your Facebook page. What about Instagram? Instagram's a great place to share photos. Take those same photos and share them on Instagram, because there are other people that will use Instagram much more than Facebook. Old fuddy-duddies like me are still stuck in the world of Facebook. Young millennials will find Instagram's more fun. So put the photos in there. We're not using that yet because we're all a bunch of fuddy-duddies, and it's something I need to add, and I will be doing that. I'm going to try it and report back. And I'll be interested in anybody else's experience of using that. We also mentioned WhatsApp. WhatsApp's a great way for having a little private chat group. And again, maybe you want to use this for your Facebook private message board alternative. So we could use WhatsApp, or we could use a private Facebook page. It depends on your club. It depends on your committee. I mean, we've got some committee-based WhatsApp stuff that's going on, and that works quite well. It's easy to share things. It's more difficult to post stuff, but it's more often on your phone, so it's easy. You've just got to balance it up. And basically, you've got to find from your members who's going to use something, and if they're going to use it, then use that platform. If they're not interested in using that, they don't use WhatsApp, then maybe Facebook. You have to make it as easy to use as possible for everybody. I have seen quite a few people who've got WhatsApp groups, and if you have, brilliant idea. So let's talk about Meetup. Meetup is a website where you can put your meetings, and it then publicizes them. Now, the people that subscribe to Meetup obviously are interested in going to meetings, and therefore they will hunt down Toastmasters meetings. There are a lot of Toastmasters meetings on Meetup, and therefore, if you do search your local area, you're going to find a Toastmasters meeting. It's a good place to advertise. It does cost money, but we believe you can have up to 3 groups meeting on one Meetup account. And what we've done locally is we have 3 local Toastmasters clubs all sharing the same account. There are other platforms available for doing this sort of thing. Another one is, I think it's called Your Local. I haven't tried that yet. Another one is Eventbrite, which is, again, allows you to put meetings. That one is free. Well, I've registered so far, and I've put Epsom speakers on there, and I haven't paid anything so far. So it seems to be free. But Eventbrite earns its revenue by taking a cut of people who charge. So as we let guests go for free, there doesn't seem to be any cost on that at the moment. So there's some ideas. I hope you're not thinking this, but maybe you are. Oh my God, all of this stuff. Work out, John, we're volunteers. I don't have much time. I certainly have a life outside Toastmasters more than you do. And if you do, I'm glad. I'm glad you have a work outside Toastmasters. But don't try this all at once. Just start with something simple. Take a few photos with your mobile phone. Make sure it's on whatever quiet mode you can so you can take photos silently. Take a few photos on your phone. Upload them to Facebook. You started the ball rolling. That's enough to do. So let me show you what I do, and so you get an idea of the sort of simple things you can get involved in. So this is my typical workload for a meeting. During the meeting, a videographer, so that's a role which we hand out, is taking the videos, basically turning the camera on and off, and making sure it's working for the prepared speeches and the evaluations of the prepared speeches. And if they're up for it, they also do the table topics and the evaluation. Some do, some don't. It really depends. That is a job that's handed out. We have a video camera that's owned for by the club. It's only a very, very cheap one. Something like, well, I'll grab my one rather than the club's one because the club one's put away. Make sure I can put this in the camera. So here we are. This is a video camera, a very simple point-and-click HD camera. I think I paid about $250 for it many, many years ago, and it's probably now you can get something similar for $100 or less. But the quality isn't fantastic, the sound isn't fantastic, but it's good enough for people to review what they did, listen to what they did, and get the feedback that they want from it. So that's fine. Personally, I'm taking random photos during the session. So if you are going to use a proper camera, then you need to make it as silent as possible. Unfortunately, mine makes clicks. So although it produces better photos for me, I'm not always so happy using it all the time. I certainly don't like using it in the middle of presentations because it can be distracting. I have a quiet mode, but it's still not perfectly quiet. So I'm not really completely happy about using that camera in those situations. But other times I will use it because it's more effective to take sort of in the middle of the meeting while people are chatting and things like that shots. But a lot of the time, mobile phone shots are fine. In fact, they're better because they're more convenient. You just get the screen and you zoom in whatever you need to do, take the photo, and it's very easy to share that to Facebook literally within minutes. I would like to do a little bit more, and I'm experimenting on the ways of doing that without being obtrusive, without it taking much time of mine. So can I do little video clips, short video clips, which I could then put in on Instagram or Facebook, like little 5-10 second videos? Could I do a time lapse of the meeting to put on, get all the people coming in and going out, etc.? Could I get photos at the end of not just the people who have, got the best topics or the best speech, but could I get a photo of all the people at the end? I find new groups tend to do this more than the established ones. New groups want to show that they've got going, that they're now established, and they'll get everybody lined up. Very established groups tend to have fallen out of habit of doing that. But crikey, you want to take a picture of all the people that are there and promote it. Don't just say you're a Toastmasters, you got 20 people. Take a picture of your Toastmasters group and show you got 20 people, 30 people, 40 people. Fantastic. So after the meeting, I tend to, on the day after, I take the video camera home, take the memory card out, and I upload those videos onto YouTube. It takes me 5-10 minutes to get the videos off the camera and start the upload process. And then basically I'll go and do something else, or I'll walk away from the computer. And then once they're all uploaded, I then go through and cut and paste the links to each of those videos, and then I send an email to the person of the speech and the evaluator of the speech. They get the speech and the evaluation together, both of them. So the person of the speech can look at their speech again and replay the evaluator's evaluation, and the evaluator can play back their evaluation and review the speech again to see if they think they did a good job, if they missed something out or whatever. And I do get good feedback from that, and I do notice that it's at least one of them, if not both of them, will watch them back. Mostly the speeches. The evaluators don't tend to watch things back so much, and I would probably criticize them for not doing that because they should evaluate their evaluations. But we'll see. And then I can, at the same time, or maybe at a separate time, upload the pictures to Facebook. Now, I'm a bit naughty with this, a little bit cheeky, because I try and get more bites from the cherry. So I'll upload the Facebook pictures that day. A couple of days later, I'll upload the same pictures to the website. Don't do it at the same time, because I want to create a gap between the two, so people get things done once and then I'd upload the second time. Because it always gives me the chance then of having the report or whatever you're going to call it, the review of the meeting, hopefully written by your president, your secretary, whoever's writing it. Please, VPPRs, don't write them yourselves. Get somebody else involved. So I have that, and I then add the photos that I've taken to that, and I can post that up. And then, of course, I've got some new content on the website. So I got an excuse to go back to the Facebook page and remind people on the Facebook page that we have the report from the meeting. What I should be doing, of course, is I should be posting these on Instagram as well. But I haven't done that. But I'm going to do that. And I'm thinking of other things to do, like having create some memes, which may be in-house jokes, in club jokes for members to share to each other, or they may be memes that will be good for the club. I've got to experiment with this, with a few memes, a few catchphrases. I have noticed before that we've done things like when the competitions have been going, we've done photos of people in the competition and done some catchphrases on the humorous speaking competition because it was humorous. So we got some, it was easy to find memes for it. But I think we need to do that a bit more and try and do things. So as I said, a few days later, I'll get the president's write-up and I'll post that to the website. I'll post the pictures that I took, which are already gone to Facebook, now to the website, share that content to Facebook. And I also thought, well, why don't I do a thank you, a Toastmasters thank you? I'm trying to encourage the Toastmasters to do that. Now, it happened last meeting because I was the Toastmaster. But I'm going to try and get the Toastmaster to do something. What about your Wordmaster? I find that at the meeting, you don't really want the Toastmaster to analyse everything, but why not have some of the stats that the Wordmaster, if you have a Wordmaster, of course, that the Wordmaster collected, why not put those stats on later on? Do you follow up guests? Who follow up guests and how do they follow up guests? Is there a PR bit of following up? Thanking them for being in the meeting. Is there any content that you want to bring to their attention that you want to share? If you have a group photo at the end, then obviously a guest has a chance to be in that photo as well. So why not make sure that they are in some way linked to that so they know that they're there? They're in that photo and they might want to share the photo. Does your VP of membership, do they do a follow-up? Do you want to make sure that they know about the content so they can share it with guests? And then, of course, a certain number of days out, which is to me is usually about a week to 10 days out. I've got, so let's think about this. 2 weeks between the meetings. Usually it's going to be longer if it's, but we're the first and third Monday. So there's usually 2 weeks between one meeting and 2 to 3 weeks between the next. So let's say we do the day after, we do our first bit of advertising. 2 or 3 days after that, we're going to do our second bit of advertising for the previous meeting, getting the message back for the pictures, the reports. Now that means that we probably want to wait a few days and therefore a week out from the meeting. I'm going to set up the meetup event. I'm going to set up an event maybe in Facebook. I'm going to be finding out if the next Toastmaster is starting to send the invites out to find everybody's roles, etc. If it's more than 2 weeks between the meetings, then that may happen a week to 10 days before the meeting. And start a countdown to the process of the meeting. And your promotion needs to be reminding people, is there an email that's going to go out to guests and to regular visitors from other groups to go out perhaps the week before? Whatever you do, I don't do this right myself yet because I'm playing with it, I'm afraid. You need to get into a rhythm. And that way it'll be easier for you and it'll also be easier for people because they'll expect it at certain dates. But don't do too much of the preparation for the next meeting until you've signed off all the PR and the promotion of the previous meeting. I suggest to not confuse it. And that is the contents of my presentation, which is only about 5 to 10 minutes less than when I did it with feedback from everybody. So I would like to take questions now, but as I don't think there's anybody who's joining in this replay apart from a copy of myself on the laptop over there, I don't have any questions to answer. But if you do have questions, then pop them in the Facebook group and we will answer them. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next webinar or to see you watching a recording of the next webinar. But otherwise, thank you very much. Make sure you have joined the Facebook page if you haven't already, and share the Facebook page with other people who are on your committee in charge of PR, but actually anybody on a committee who wants to do promotion or wants to support your PR, they can join as well. I've got no problem with that. In fact, in a way, I encourage it because then they'll see what you're doing as PR, and you need to make sure that the PR and the membership is tied together well, because that is where you can get an overlap or a hole, and you can lose guests in that hole, and you don't want to do that because they're very precious. Otherwise, thank you very much, and I'm going to end the meeting there when I can find the button which says stop. Thank you very much.